Okay.
Hey everyone, welcome back to part 3 of our interview with Thomas and Cece Stokes. We apologize for the technical glitches. We hope that some of you are still able to join us. And what we're going to do is we're going to cut out all the kinks, assemble this all back together, and re-release it as a one succinct kind of intact episode. But we wanted to go ahead and just live stream the remainder for those of you who are still hanging on and want to catch the end. So this will be where we have Brooklyn cut this part off, and we'll just continue with the interview. And we welcome and encourage anyone who has thoughts or feedback to still share any thoughts or feelings on the live stream. So here we go. All right. So we talked about your elopement and
Yes.
And all the shame and everything, but also how beautiful that moment was for you.
Yeah. We still 10 out of 10 recommend.
Oh yeah, anyone that's getting married,
We don't
just
regret
elope.
it.
It's so much better. Yeah.
So what came next in your story? And yeah, was there any aftermath or collateral damage?
They actually chilled out. My family chilled out.
They
We had a
really
little
came to terms
ceremony.
with it well.
We had a little reception a few months later where we invited close family and friends, just really small, low key, and they came to terms with it, and it was just fine. So yeah,
So it was good.
it was good. Yeah, they're fine with it now. They love Cece. My family does. I love her too. Everyone loves Cece.
That's good. That makes it easier.
Oh yeah.
All right. So what came next? You guys you guys elope, which means you get married,
Mhm.
and you're still at BYU at that point.
I am still at BYU. Yeah.
He is so close to graduating, and I have to push his butt out the door every day because he's just ready to be done. It's gotten harder, I think, his senior year with everything going on. Like, he's obviously not in, but he's attending the church's school. And again, the whole issue with the honor code, that has to stay under wraps until he's graduated. So we are into March, April now. So he's literally a month from graduating?
Yeah.
Really close.
Holding on by a thread.
That was a really good milestone too, is when he was finally done with school.
Yeah, felt like a huge weight was lifted off of my shoulders. So I graduated, and very soon after that, in May, towards the end of May, we decided that we wanted a baby.
Yeah, so we
So soon.
It's super soon.
Yes.
Just so that everyone who had suspicions that you were pregnant before the elopement would that would fulfill their projections
just
upon
tease
you.
him a little bit. Yeah, we had originally, because up until now, I'm sure everybody has gathered, we're moving pretty fast as far as, I jumped into a relationship right after my last relationship ended, and then we went pretty fast as far as physical relationship. His faith crisis is just on the fast track. And so when we did get married, we were like, we should wait at least a year, if not longer, to even start talking about kids, because we maybe wanted to do a 1-year anniversary honeymoon kind of trip, because we didn't really do that. We just did a fun weekend getaway.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, kids were not in the picture when we first got married. And the reason why that changed so quickly, only 2-3 months later, was because my mom was diagnosed with cancer. And at the time, that just triggered me. Her mother actually passed away from cancer as well before she was able to meet my little half-brothers that I have, right before. My mom was pregnant when her mother passed away. And so in my mind, I was like, I can't have that happen to me, which I obviously jumped the gun. My mom, disclaimer, my mom is in remission now. She's doing really well. And so, we didn't have that loss in our family that I was so afraid of. But in the moment, I remember I was crying to Thomas one night, and I was like, we have to have a baby that my mom can meet. And
How do you say no to
Thomas,
that?
yeah, okay, how do you say no to that when you're, that's why your wife is asking for kids?
I was down, though.
Yeah, and
I was
so
a
we
little
just
scared,
we
but I
kind
was
of jumped
down.
off that cliff really fast. But I'd been around babies since I was 12 with my 2 younger brothers. All my sisters had babies at this point, and I'd had a lot of exposure to them. And so I felt really pretty good about, that's one thing, you know, being as non-Mormon as I was my entire life, I've always felt that I would do well as a young mother, which is pretty common in Mormonism. And so
definitely fit the mold there.
yeah, that was one thing that I was like, I can do this. This is something that I can do. And so
yeah. And like, other than obviously Cece's personality, as you've seen it, I knew she would be such a good mother, and she is. And man, I'm so happy that you actually that we had a kid as early as we did. I have literally no regrets.
yeah.
If we could have our baby right here in the studio, you guys wouldn't have any regrets either. He's so cute.
He really is. He's the light of our lives. And we got pregnant with him. His name is Abel. Really soon after I asked Thomas if we could start trying.
Pretty sure it was the first try.
Yeah. So
sooner than I anticipated.
So we didn't even have time to like really backtrack and decide if maybe I was jumping the gun. We just had to move forward from there. I want to say you were going to therapy all through my pregnancy. Is that correct?
Nope.
I'll let you take the reins.
Okay.
Because from here, your faith crisis kind of evolves into something different with the thought of being a dad.
Yeah. So I knew I was going to be a dad. This was in the summer of 2019. And it brought up a whole nother slew of questions, like how are we going to raise our kid? I was still in the midst of my faith crisis. I didn't believe, but I was still in structurally, and like because of my family
still
pressure.
Going to church at this point.
We were still going to church every week, even though I didn't believe. It was really weird. It was a weird time.
It was.
But we would talk over and over again about how we wanted to raise Abel, and I was depressed, kind of in denial, just because I was so conflicted about what I wanted to do with, as a father, because there's so much pressure to, from my parents. They expected the baby blessing. They expected me to be a righteous priesthood holder, to to set the example for my son, and I knew that wasn't going to happen. So we spent most of her pregnancy trying to figure out what we were going to do there. And then
for non-Mormons who don't know, talk about the baby blessing. I mean, we kind of already covered the fact that not getting married in the temple is a disappointment. However, what then an Orthodox Mormon parent would feel would be, okay, they had sex before they were married, so they weren't worthy to go into the temple. So now the disaster of an unfortunate subpar marriage happened. Again, this is the Orthodox Mormon parent standpoint. But they can wait a year, and then after a year, they'll get married and they'll get sealed in the temple, so they can go ahead and still get sealed. And then when any babies come,
born in the covenant,
they'll be born in the covenant where
Yes.
they'll get their baby blessing, which makes them a member of the church. It'll be this happy family occasion. And so we'll have redemption, where we'll get our children back on track, back on the covenant path. Their children will still be a part of the deal, and the one eternal round seal of eternal family togetherness will not be broken. And so there won't be any empty chairs. That's what your parents are.
Out.
They were banking on that.
Yeah,
100%.
because we'd even told them, okay, so now we've just eloped. We obviously didn't do the temple sealing, but I do think that I want to say they asked Thomas about it. And at that point, we were still going to church every Sunday. Thomas felt that he was really out in his heart, but we were like, maybe this is just a phase we're going through, and something will happen to us to really help us get back on track, if you will. And so we told his parents that we were actually considering doing a temple sealing as like a 1 or 2 year anniversary milestone event. And that gave them a lot of comfort, I think, because for us to not get sealed in the temple initially gave them a lot of fear. But then we were like, we're just doing it a little out of order, but we're still going to go through. Gave them reassurance that you weren't completely out.
Even though I was in my heart.
Yeah.
It was literally just
when in
to please
reality,
them.
we were just playing with the idea of a temple sealing as an anniversary thing, just in case something should happen that we realized we'd been in the wrong for the last year. But
yeah, it's like,
of course, that didn't happen all through my pregnancy. We were like, by the time my 9-month mark rolled around and we were really close to having Abel, I think we'd completely thrown out the idea of doing the temple sealing, and we just hadn't told his parents that yet. And so in their minds, like you said, they had two things going for them still, or we had two things going for us still as their children, and that was to do a temple sealing as an anniversary and then to bless the baby.
Mm-hmm. So the time came around for the pregnancy, and Cece
For the birth, you mean?
Yeah, for the birth. And Cece wanted to do totally natural birth, no medications. I'll let you take this over.
Yeah.
But that didn't quite.
Yeah. Again, I've been around a lot of babies and birthing in my life. And so I definitely wanted to follow suit after my sisters and try the natural, try the, the water labor, all of that.
Yoga ball,
Mm-hmm.
all sorts of cool stuff.
But 37 weeks rolled around and they did an ultrasound and found out that he was breech and his head was way up in my ribs, which by 37 weeks, they want him like down in my pelvis. You can even be dilated at that point. And so we kind of watched over the next couple of weeks to see if he would flip on his own. But at 37 weeks, when they initially realized he was breech, they just scheduled me for a C-section. Mm-hmm. And we did end up going through with the C-section because we tried a couple different procedures to get him flipped. It didn't happen.
Didn't work.
And by the time the morning came around that we had the C-section scheduled, we were just like ready to meet him and to have him. So we were like, yeah, let's go through with it.
Mm-hmm.
And it worked out.
It worked out.
It was a whirlwind and it was not my plan, but it worked out.
Mm-hmm. She was awake during the whole thing and I got to watch too. I was over the curtain, just saw the whole thing. It was nuts. Crazy. If you've ever seen a C-section, you know, it's nuts. Funny thing about that though, why that's important is because the umbilical cord was wrapped around Abel's neck 3 times, which if we tried to do a normal birth, that would have been catastrophic. And when we got back into the room with him, my mom talked about how she had a vision that the umbilical cord was wrapped around his neck 3 times, and that is what ended up happening. And so that was a pretty crazy experience. Again, maybe she's just in tune with the universe, or with this, if there is a God, then something.
It's interesting because to her, that vision was definitely granted by Heavenly Father, whereas to us, we think about it a lot. We're like, okay, we still find ourselves spiritual, I would say, just not religious.
Her more than me.
Yes, me a little bit more. And so, yeah, we revisit that often, like what... I guess that's still just part of the process that we're going through. Part of our journey is like, how do some people still have those like psychic tendencies or, revelations that I feel like your mom would make a better prophet, honestly, than some. But it's interesting to think about that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But because it was a C-section, it went well.
Yep.
And he was delivered safely.
Healthy boy, Abel Thomas Stokes.
Thank you, science and modern medicine.
Right?
Yeah.
That wouldn't have worked out so well a couple decades ago.
Yeah.
So let's see. This is big. We had been talking about how we wanted to raise Abel, and we were in the hospital. We had to stay a few days, and Cece was taking a nap, and I was holding Abel, just looking at him, and he was like the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. I had been bawling my eyes out all day. And I was just holding him, and we had a moment of peace. And the most real spiritual experience I could ever describe happened to me. And it just dawned on me as I was looking at him in that quiet room. I was like, I'm not going to raise you in this church. I'm not going to make you be a part of this. I'm not going to subject you to the guilt, fear, and shame that I experienced. And that was a game changer. And from there forward,
we knew we weren't going
we
back.
knew we were never going back. And we haven't been to church since before the birth. And I haven't looked back with a single bit of regret since then. That was a huge moment for me as a father. And then I told Cece about it. I think it was a while later that I told you.
It was a little more recently,
Yeah.
He kept that to himself for a while.
It was a real special moment.
Just recently, it was your friend Lauren, right?
Yeah.
She said that her having a baby was the impetus to her faith crisis,
Yeah.
like the real
Crazy.
one, because
Crazy.
she's just like, I don't
You
want to
can't
raise
raise
this
a
baby
kid
in
this
this
way.
church.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I told her that's one of the less common, less common reasons people cite for deciding to leave the church. Several people in the comments said that they connected or related to or also felt those same things. And so now you knew Lauren, but also you join her
Yeah.
as basically saying
Uh-huh.
the birth of your child was the beginning of the end. And that's
Absolutely.
so interesting because for me, I had my kids before I had my faith crisis,
Mm-hmm.
and I had already raised them for 10 or 15 years in the church. And so for me, it was like, how will I be able to ever raise my kids outside of Mormonism?
Yeah.
That was what I was feeling like. You can't raise a happy, healthy, normal kid without the church.
Mm-hmm.
And Cece's grinning at me a little bit on that. But you felt the opposite. You're like, there's no way in H I'm raising Abel
Absolutely.
in this church.
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
no
That's
way.
how it was
I
for
think
you.
while I was still pregnant and his faith crisis was more centered around fatherhood, he was like you, where he was like, I think we might need the church. Maybe I'm speaking
No,
for you here.
No, that's how
Like
I felt.
maybe we do need the church to raise a happy, healthy family. But then as soon as he did see him in physical form, he was like, no, that would be corruption,
Yeah,
like
he's way
we've got to
too
do it
pure.
differently. So
I'm not going to taint him.
it was
with,
funny how quickly that switched just as soon as he was born, because even up until
it was day and
delivery,
night.
Thomas was so nervous, and I was like, I think it's going to be okay once you see him for the first time. And it really was like flip of a switch. He was like, okay,
Instantaneous.
this sets it in concrete
Yep.
that you are officially ex-Mormon.
Yes, absolutely. So that happened, and I think it would be a good time for a song.
Yeah.
This song is called Free, and it's about my wife and my son and how much I love them and how much of a role they played in helping me heal.
Any lyrics to listen out for?
No, I don't think so. I mentioned the one to bring us hell during the night. That's referring to Abel trying to get him to sleep and him waking us up.
Makes a lot of references to those,
Yeah.
apparently.
Anyway, am I good to go? Yeah. Okay. So this song's called Free. Let me just adjust this real quick. Okay. I'm inside of it. I never slept the way I do with you. And I'll be kind to him. You can't imagine half the things I dare to sacrifice for something brand new. You're my brand new. The heat that I'm absorbing from your body is a pleasant sight as we listen for the one to bring us hell during the night. During the night, so come what may, during the night. Oh, inside of it, I can't believe the way that I used to. And I'm behind a bit, so help me grow into the one I love before my days are numbered, one too few. Let go of your truth. And after all this time, fretting all the things I'll never be, like who are you and what am I? why do we amount to anything? Give me freedom, give me focus that can take away my soul. Give me anything but here I've memorized these lines before. I couldn't think of anyone but you, and I can't hide from it. The planet speaks to me in prophecies. There's no one else on earth I'd rather choose, and I'll be with you. Surround me until I'm free from this. 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 Thank you.
Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you. That's so beautiful. It's so nice to have the music.
Oh, yeah, it's fun to play.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, very fun to play. Anyway, where to from here?
What are you thinking, Cece?
I just really like that song. I was still lingering on it.
What do you love about it?
Is it conceited if I say it's about me? I told Thomas I wanted him to write a song for me and then for him to just also include Abel in it. I really loved that.
Yeah.
And he's only been playing that one more recently, so I'm just still obsessed with it. Like when you hear a new favorite song for the first time, you have to overplay it for a while, right?
Thanks. Thanks, babe. Appreciate
welcome.
that. Yeah, so fatherhood was fantastic. As soon as he was born, I had a sense of, purpose, resolve to be myself. We told my family we weren't doing the baby blessing. And
I think that really woke them up.
That's when I told them about my faith crisis, because I was like, we're not doing a baby blessing. This is who I am. This is what I believe. And it was hard for them, very much so.
Let me just jump in there really quick. So this is, I think that, I have this has become a full-time job for me, just supporting Mormons in faith crisis and leaving the church. And, there are lots of things that are hard: spirituality, raising kids, marital relationships, lots of stuff. By far the hardest thing people deal with is whether or not to come out to their parents, and if they do, how. That's the biggest thing. Of all the things, that's the biggest thing. And there's a lot to be said for that. But so many people would rather stay silent and never come out to their parents and literally just wait till their parents die. Mm. And in some cases hide or live a double life or live a lie because they're so terrified to come out to their parents. Now, can you guys relate to that? Does that sound...
That was my plan, yeah.
So talk about for someone who's never been Mormon, or for someone who wants to have a cathartic moment of connecting with you, why in the world, if I can't imagine a Lutheran or a Presbyterian saying, "Oh, I'm not going to go to church anymore," and having it be like the most traumatic thing in their lives to have to tell their parents that. I can see their parents going, "Who cares? You know, that's no big deal." But in Mormonism, that was my Midwestern.
That was really good.
Yeah.
Loved it.
But for you guys, it's a huge deal, or at least for you. So can you talk our non-Mormon listeners and those who want to feel some catharsis? Can you talk them through that?
Yeah, the whole point of the church is so families can be together forever. So that when you get sealed in the temple, it's expected that as long as you guys are faithful to your covenants and faithful to the gospel and the church, you will all end up in the highest kingdom of heaven together for all eternity. And when one person strays from that, you are breaking up your family. The rest of them will be together, but not you. And for, a tight-knit family like I have, that was extremely difficult for me to break the news that we weren't going to be together in heaven, even though I'm not sure on an afterlife right now, but I believe that if there is one, we're going to be together no matter what. But they don't believe that. And I think they're holding out on some mercy that God might have for me. But in general, it's absolutely devastating for parents and for siblings to hear that you won't be together with your brother, who I have a special relationship with all my siblings, being the middle child. And that it was hard for all of them to hear. Tears, I think everyone I spoke to cried at one point.
Let me ask you, so for those who are on the edge about whether or not to come out or to disclose, there's a lot to consider there, and there are different ways to do it.
Yeah.
What was it that made you decide, what pushed you over the edge to actually disclose to them you had lost your faith? Because many people would just lie, hide it, go ahead and bless the baby, even go to church on Sunday, lie for their temple recommends, live whatever life they want to live, have a beer, hide the coffee. This sounds crazy to non-Mormons, but hide the coffee maker.
I hid wine once when my parents came over, yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, a lot of people just take that route of hiding or lying. And there's no judgment here. Everybody's got to figure this out for themselves, whether to do it, when to do it. And in fact, Margie and I have an episode on this tomorrow.
Oh, nice.
Talking about the specific issue. But having said all that, what pushed you over the edge to decide not to hide, not to lie, not to live a double life, and to face that moment of disappointing, making your parents disappointed in themselves, and in making them disappointed in you?
I had already hid things for about a year, right? Yeah, it was about a year. And I hated it. Cece could tell how it was tearing me apart. And when the baby blessing was coming up, I'm like, I'm not doing this again. I did the temple thing once, and I hated it. And I'm not going to do this again, especially where I have to get up in front of hundreds of people and bless my baby that he'll stay faithful in the church. There's no way I'm doing that. Why?
You said there's no way I'm doing it, but why?
Because I was tired of not living true to myself.
What does that do to you? Can you describe?
It creates such a split and a tear in your reality and in your emotions and in every part of your life. I was depressed and anxiety every day. I had this terrible feeling in my chest every single day of my life. Cece knows. It was literally constant. It would stop when I went to bed, and when I woke up in the morning, I'd have a few minutes before it started again. And it was awful. I hated it, and I was done with it. I wanted it to be over. So that's when I decided to not do the baby blessing, and then I actually told my oldest brother first, the one that's married to her sister. And
how'd you tell him? Because there's different ways to tell him.
Yeah, we were just packing up. I was helping him move, and then my dad mentioned the baby blessing to both of us since he had a kid.
They've got a baby that's about 6 weeks younger than Abel.
And so that we were thinking about doing joint blessing, same day.
Kind of backed into a corner.
Yeah, and so they're
like, at the same time?
"Are you going to do it at the same time, or what's going on?" And I was like, "Yeah, we'll figure it out." And then my brother saw it on my face. He was like, "Something's up." And so my dad left. Me and my brother were in the car together, and I was like, "Hey, I got something to tell you. I don't believe in the church how I used to." And he goes, "I know, man." He's like, "I know." And I was like, "You do?" And he goes, "Yeah, and it's not going to affect how I feel about you." And I feel like crying now. It was so good to hear that from him, and he's my best friend. And it was just like amazing to hear that. And so I was on a high. I was super pumped about it. 20 minutes later, we both
went so much better than you thought it would.
I gotta say kudos to that brother.
Yes.
Nice job. Thumbs
Matt,
up.
love you, dude.
That's the right answer.
Yep.
A+.
Yeah, he did cry a little bit. He was like, of course, I'm a little worried, about beliefs and are we going to be together in heaven? He cried a little bit about that, but I was like, I get that. I'm not going to criticize him for that. That was totally understandable. Anyway, but it was perfect. I felt so good. And then my dad called me over when we got to their place, and he was like, hey, come here. And I was just on a high, and I was like, I'm going to tell my dad too. and it didn't go quite as well, but
how'd you tell him?
I was like, he was like, hey, man, or bud, hey, bud, I'm gonna, I realize that I might have made you uncomfortable talking about the baby blessing. We can wait. We can have someone else do it. The important thing is that he gets blessed. And I was like, Dad, I'm not going to bless him.
And we're not going to have him blessed.
And we're not going to have him blessed by anyone else. I've had a change in belief. I don't believe the way I used to. And he did his surprised, bewildered face. But he took a moment to compose himself, and he was like, when did this begin? And I was like, my mission, gave him a brief synopsis. And over the next month or so, he tried to help me resolve my doubts and
bring you back to the
fold. But I think the more I discussed my doubts with him, the less he spoke to me. And I told him to read the gospel topic essay on polygamy. And he was actually like, he had a very nuanced view of it, which surprised me. And he was like, I think they did it wrong. Joseph Smith shouldn't have done it like that, and this, that. But the important thing is that, the church is still true. But so he surprised me with a very nuanced view of things. But sorry, I jumped ahead. Going back, he was like, I love you no matter what. I want to help you work through this, was basically his response, which was fine. I understand. But
did he give you Fair Mormon kind of stuff?
Yeah, for sure.
And was that helpful? Was the Fair Mormon stuff?
No, I'd already seen all Fair Mormon. I'd already been through that whole process. So everything he told me I didn't really resonate with me. But he tried, and I understand why he tried, and I don't hold anything against him for trying. But I was definitely able to make it clear to him what I believed, and he hasn't brought it up in a long time, over a year now. So I told my dad, feeling good.
Has it changed how he's treated you?
Our relationship has gotten so much better.
Better.
Yep.
Than before?
Yeah, it's interesting. It really is.
Our relationship was a little rocky, but it's definitely gotten a lot better. He used to kind of try to tell me what to do a lot, and now he just lets me live my life. And
I think that's because you just you broke out of the mold so much more than any of them could ever expect. And so I think when you did that, and the more you stuck to your guns about, being true to yourself, I think that's really helped him back off as far as
trying to preach to me.
And just letting you, even outside of the church, it's just kind of his personality to be not your parents have never micromanaged you kids.
No,
but,
I wouldn't say so.
But just to really grant you freedom, more than you've had in the past, and to not impose their opinions or, I think they've really finally started to respect boundaries. And that's why your relationship has gotten better, because before, people pleaser Thomas wouldn't have set any boundaries to be respected.
I would just nod my head and say, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
So that relationship has really developed, and I'm happy about that. Then I was like, all right, that was better than I thought. Let's tell my mom. And at this point I started going to therapy, right in between telling my mom and my dad.
So you waited how much time?
Between
telling
my mom and dad?
Mom? Yeah.
I want to say a month, 3 weeks.
Interesting.
But he told her a little bit, but just that I was having problems. That's all, which I'm glad he did say it like that, because I wanted to tell her myself. My mom was super sweet, and she immediately brought mental health into it. Since I said I was starting to see a therapist, and she was like, how's your mental health? She opened up to me about her mental health. She had gone through depression as well throughout my whole childhood, and I had no idea. And so it, being able to open up to my family was amazing, because they all brought something different to the table, and they were all pretty...
They responded
very well.
As well as we could have hoped.
And then I told my little sister, and she's like my best bud too. And so she was like, I love you no matter what. She told us things about her own faith journey as well. And she's still super in though. And then I told my big sister over the phone because she lives in Arkansas, and she was super nice too. She definitely shared like a lot of spiritual experiences that she's had, but she was really nice and supportive. And so I was just on a high, and I was going to therapy. I was feeling so much better about myself and about life in general. And my therapist was so good. And then I had my buddy Zach that commented, and the Denny's guy, he was going through all that with me too. We had a couple other friends too that were going through it. So I just felt really supported during that.
Community and a good therapist.
Yep.
Yeah.
Do you want to give a shout out to your therapist, or would you rather keep that private?
I'm fine as long as there's like he said I could say his name. So Cody Merrill, amazing.
Utah County.
If you're going through a faith crisis,
We'll add that to the show notes.
book him. He is amazing.
He specializes in faith crises, right?
Yeah, I think he said he would watch this. So if you're listening, dude, like you're the best. Like you made such a big difference. Cody Merrill, I think it's spelled Merrel, not
right.
the other way around. It's a little different than the other Merrill. Anyway, that leads me to another song. The Easy Way Out song I wrote the first day I went to therapy, and it's about my inner dialogue, about leaving the church and finally coming to terms with it, and what I thought my family was going to say, which turned out to be a little different than what they actually said. I imagined the worst, and they exceeded my expectations. So should I play that one again?
So,
or?
yeah, like this is, y'all are gonna love this song. Let me just say that like there are all sorts, there are these common stereotypes that that Orthodox Mormons have for Mormons who lose their faith and leave the church, and things like they wanted to sin, they never believed in the first place, and there's always like, it was too hard for them and they wanted to take the easy way out. And so I don't know if you had that in mind when you picked the title, but do you want to talk a little bit about why you would choose that title for a song about leaving the church, knowing that that's kind of the stereotype, and if there are lyrics or whatever that kind of address that?
I mean, honestly, I think the lyrics speak for themselves, and you're gonna know. You're gonna know. Okay. But the whole thing is just like taking that stereotype and running with it. Like, you think I'm going to take the easy way out? Okay, well, this is what the easy way out is like. And why don't you take step into my shoes and yeah.
All right.
See what it's like.
Here it is.
Yeah.
Easy Way Out.
Yep. This is the title song on my EP. So go listen to the full version. It always ends up tied up in my mind, and squeezes all the love until it dies. A never-ending circle of design that pulls me back for questioning my life. Well, serves you right for asking why you're here. You're fine, you're here, you're fine. I hear you're fine. Shut up, you're fine. I never get a second point of view. Why bother when the one you have is true? How dare you ever leave this special place that ebbs and flows on what it wants to say? And what they say is I'm okay, that I'm not broken, but I am. I think I am. Oh God, I am. I guess I'll take the easy way out. I'll tear my roots, I'll dig my grave and spit it out. Leave it alone, leave it alone. If you can't stay, but you can change, I'm changing every goddamn day. So worry what the other ones will think, inside the well it never looks that deep. Go and grab your spade and dig that rabbit hole. But once you start, you'll never come back home. Well, serves you right for asking why you're here. You're fine, you're here, you're fine. I hear you're fine. Shut up, you're fine. I guess I'll take the easy way out. I'll tear my roots, I'll dig my grave and spit it out. Leave it alone if you can't stay, but you can change. I'm changing every goddamn day. I never thought of it as an abuse. The happiness can always trump the truth. Well, ignorance is bliss, they always say. The truths of now are lies from yesterday. And what they say is we're okay, that we're not broken, but we are. It's never been more clear that we are. I guess I'll take the easy way out. I'll tear my roots, I'll dig my grave and spit it out. Leave it alone if you can't stay, but you can change. I'm changing every goddamn day. I'm changing every single day. I'm changing every single day. I'm changing every goddamn day. Thank you.
I'll clap too.
Beautiful. That's a favorite. I'm going to try and get you to sing that at Thrive.
Oh, I'll totally sing that at Thrive. No problem.
November 14th, Salt Palace. You'll get to hear Thomas Stokes as
Big Crick
sing Easy Way Out. That's a good one. Thanks. You. That was beautiful.
Thank you.
Somebody wrote chills in the comments.
Oh, man. Thanks.
All right, so you took the easy way out.
I took the easy way out. No big deal. You know, whatever.
Let everyone know when you left the church, and now you can sin. Now you can drink beer.
Yeah, that's all I ever wanted. I love beer.
That was the only reason.
Smoke weed.
Yeah.
You can swing if you want. You can do everything you want to do, basically.
Yeah.
That's why you did it.
Oh, yeah. On a side note, beer is such a wonderful, wide world. I know you don't drink, but
not yet.
It's you don't have to, like, it's whatever, but it's been cool. It's a way to bond, you know. It's a way to bond with me and my buddy. We've bonded over that. It's cool. But yeah, let's see. There's one more song.
So that was how long ago did you come out to everybody?
That was April
of 2021.
Of 2020.
Okay, so a year.
Yeah.
So a year ago.
Yep, year ago.
Yep, it's been a while now.
Year and a half, yeah. We've been navigating that with family
Kind
ever
of COVID,
since.
right at the beginning of COVID.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, a little bit into COVID is when I came out.
Which it was kind of perfect timing because a couple months before he officially came out is when COVID, came to the States and everybody was like, ooh, we should probably start being careful. And so everybody was doing church at home.
Convenient.
Which kind of saved us because by this time we were like, we don't need to be going to church. And so we didn't have to approach that quite yet, which was kind of nice just while we got our bearings. And then come April when we just, clean break
Yeah.
it was, I don't know, it was just nice
We were
timing.
it was just a little break before to prepare, telling the family.
Which
and
honestly, it
navigating
wasn't
that.
like it was the calm before the storm or anything, because his family handled it really well.
Yeah,
But
amazing.
even for as well as it's gone, there have still been
Hiccups.
little things that, you know, you have to brace yourself for.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
it's worked out.
Yeah, I had a
well,
conversation.
the timeline.
Sorry.
You're good.
I had a conversation with my mom the other day, and she was like, she kind of wanted to know a little bit more in depth about what was really going on with my faith crisis. And it was hard. It was hard for her to hear it, because she's such a sweetheart, and she just wanted me to be happy. But she said that she wasn't emotionally prepared to hear all the details. And like, I respect that, but also it's kind of sad that she's not. But I understand why. It's not her fault. It's the way the church conditions you, and the church has been a really big help for her personally in her life. And who am I to, you know, question that? It's just, it's hard when they don't see eye to eye.
It's getting them to come around to your point of view.
Yeah. And then, you know, since then they've found, some of them have found out about my TikTok and didn't agree with that.
I feel like that's honestly been the hardest hit.
The TikTok,
almost.
yeah.
It's just that aside from you being out of the church, you actually have enough hurt feelings to, like, you know, poke a little fun. Like, why would you want to poke fun?
Yeah, so
you should just leave and leave it alone. But
Yeah.
it's like, you know, it's kind of therapeutic for people. So
let's see. If I remember, you basically took, for a while, you were taking primary songs, changing, or hymns,
yeah.
and changing the lyrics to kind of satire.
Yeah.
Where you would talk about
Very
hard
much so.
church stuff, or I don't know if making fun is the right word, but like,
Yeah.
but being critical, or how would you describe those songs? And knowing that, you know, when we started this episode, it's those primary songs and those hymns that were some of your early, most tender, loving moments. And that's been true for me as well. Is there a psychological or kind of a mental health reason or justification for, some would say, desecrating those sacred songs?
Absolutely.
Is there actually, is it just, you're just mad? Is it just, it's actually therapeutic? You know, talk about your strategy or your thinking or your justification or reasoning for that.
I can honestly say I have been mad at the church, but all of my Exmo hymns, as I call them, have come out of mostly healing myself. That's how it started, because, you know, I was so petrified of doing anything blasphemous. You know, I thought that if I didn't pray before a road trip, or if I didn't wear my garments on a road trip, I would get in a car accident. If I desecrated something sacred, it would come back and, you know, God would smite me type deal. And so finally just doing it and letting go of that fear and realizing that nothing bad was going to happen was huge for me. And then all these people on TikTok are like,
it just blew up.
They blew up my comments, and I started getting a ton of follows, and they're like, oh my gosh, like, thank you. I needed this. This is so healing. And I'm like, I was just doing it for me, and like, kind of like just a way to cope. And turns out a lot of people, it resonates with them. And so I did a ton of them. I did I think close to 50. And then
What are some examples? Like,
I love to see, oh, this one's good. This is my biggest one, was I love to see the temple. I'm going there someday. I wonder what goes on there. My parents will not say. It's a sacred, not a secret place. They told me to stop asking. I'm preparing now for who knows what. What's the worst that can happen? And I got to sing the second verse too, because it's golden. I go, what is it? I just went through the temple. Oh shit, I'm in a cold. What's with the secret handshakes and my new baker robe? This isn't what I thought it'd be. It's more than just a bit odd. I'm a little scared to go again. Plus, my new name is Nimrod. So yeah.
Was your name Nimrod?
No. I just heard that was a name, and I was like, that's the worst name I've ever heard.
Okay, so just to be like to kind of process that, it's funny, it's hilarious, it's cute, it's well written, and for Mormons, those songs are sacred.
Mm-hmm.
And the temple ceremony is sacred. I'm thinking like, oh man, all the way up to now. But then like your mom watches that, she's not happy.
Ooh, no.
Like you're desecrating a sacred hymn. You're talking about the most sensitive thing, which is temple marriage and the temple. And you're like even talking about, you're kind of dropping a temple name, even though it's not yours.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's like, somebody's going to say that's offensive. Why go that route?
Yeah, I totally get that. And the main thing,
we did have that.
We did.
When
Oh yeah,
our family members found it.
Yeah, and I've also had my fair share of negative comments too.
Yes,
but at the end of the day, it's not for believing Mormons. It's not to slander the church in front of believing Mormons and in front of non-Mormons. It's for ex-Mormons that have gone through traumatic events in the church of any form, and it's for them to realize that it's okay to joke a little bit, or it's okay to feel things. It's okay to replace what you once held sacred with something that is more healing or funny, because some of them are funny, some of them are just true, some of them are like kind of on the more tender side, some of them are a little blasphemous. It's everywhere in between. So I realized that my family would not be happy, and what I'd say to them is, it's not for you. It's for people that need it, and you definitely don't need it. And so no offense to them, I get why they would be offended, but it's not meant to offend them.
What if somebody says you're fulfilling the stereotype of the angry ex-Mormon by making sacrilege out of primary hymns?
I don't think I sound that angry in my videos. And I don't think I sound that angry on this podcast either.
Well, it always presumes that anger's bad, and actually anger's a healthy emotion, and there are reasons
That's
why
true,
we have it, and there's something good about that.
I've been angry too. And it's a healthy way to process things. Yeah. There's a lot of good. There's some new Exmo hymn parody people stepping up too, like Quirky Turkey. She's doing it now. She does a good job. But I've kind of run out of hymns. I'm sure there are more I could do.
Them.
Yeah, there are some more I could probably do, but I feel like I did all the good ones.
Okay. So are there other parts of your story you want to share, or are you feeling like you're kind of getting close to the end in the final song? Because I do have maybe a question or two, but I don't want to disrupt the stream of the story.
I think we're getting close. I wanted to bring up one more thing with the family. And this is for everyone that is going through this and navigating a faith crisis with their family. There are always going to be ups and downs. My family, like we said, has been extremely supportive for the most part. But then, like, for example, just this past, when I released my EP, they all sent not all of them, some of them sent texts saying they were happy that I released my music, but like my mom called and she didn't want to listen to the song I just played because I say "God damn" in it, and I told her like it might offend you, and so she said she would just skip it until she was ready to listen. None of them have bought the EP yet, which is fine, but like there's gonna be ups and downs, and you just got to be patient with them. And I expect them to be patient with me as well. So just remember that don't expect too much, because they're part of a system that has told them to suppress their emotions and to cut out anything that doesn't make them feel the Spirit. So you got to be merciful.
I mean, basically the worst case scenario is getting disowned, cut off.
Yeah.
Shamed,
which I know people that's happened to.
What's that?
I know people that's happened to. It's horrible.
But that hasn't happened to you.
I'm lucky.
Yeah. So shout out and congrats to all of Thomas's family.
Thanks, guys. I love you.
What about CC, what about the fear that you would be blamed? Because that's usually what happens, is if there's an in-law, especially if the in-law was the first to lose their faith, or in your case, you were suspect to begin with because you had a healthy teenage and early adulthood. So that's a problem. Then you're going to be potentially, or at least worry that you're going to be blamed, if not sort of get the vibes that people are kind of blaming you. Is there anything you want to say about that? I mean, these are still your in-laws, so it's probably hard to, be hard to talk about that.
Yeah, no, funnily enough, Thomas worried about that a lot more than I did. Yeah. He just wanted to make sure that they understood that it wasn't me dragging him away, It's that he was already being pulled in that direction, and then I just happened to come along and help him work through that. And, you know, it didn't have the outcome that they wanted, but it wasn't ultimately my doing that he is where he is today. Mm-hmm. I feel like we've had a lot of heated conversations in the past, and sometimes during those conversations, I would tell him, I was like, hey, you know, I'll take the blame. You know, if I was kind of being a hothead in the moment, I was like, let them blame me. You know, who cares as long as you are standing up to them. And of course, Thomas was like, no, we're not going to take that route. Like, they need to always know that it wasn't you to begin with.
I was very adamant about that.
But yeah, he was adamant about it. And I was more so just like, I was mostly worried about him getting through his people pleasing and really standing up to himself and speaking his truth. And I was like, you know, if I get thrown to the wolves by doing that, I will take that. And in time, I think it would heal itself. But we just didn't have that issue to start with. My in-laws are really great. Like, we've talked about them having some concerns through our dating, but as soon as we were married, again, I feel like they realized that we were together, so it didn't matter how it happened that he left the church, because we were married, and, you know, that's official, and what were they going to do about it? So
I talked to my mom and reiterated just the other week that CC was the best thing that ever happened to me. And I always think about what would have happened if she wasn't there. I probably would have found an active Mormon girl, been, you know, clenching my knuckles, trying to hold it all in. And
living a lie right now.
I'd be living a lie. Maybe it would have led to divorce. Maybe it would have worked out and she would have left with me, but that's a scary thing, and I'm really glad that Cece was there to help me.
There's another scenario there which a lot of people are in, and this is going to be emotional for some people, but just packing down the distress and the anxiety and the sadness and the depression from living an inauthentic life, faking it in fear of your spouse leaving you or not loving you anymore or disappointing everyone. And that can make someone very ill, and it can even lead to, you know, suicidal ideation, just to be totally honest, because when you live a lie for too long, and when you just sit with those internalized feelings of depression and anxiety and inauthenticity, you multiply that by months and years, and it can wreak havoc on your health, not just your emotional and psychological health, but also on your physical health. And in some cases, it can actually be deadly. Yeah. And I don't mean to be overly dramatic, but I've been in this business for 20 years, and I see it all the time.
Absolutely. It's very true.
So I think you made the healthiest choice.
I think I did too. Think? I could not be happier.
So you talked about that weight, that pressure, that anxiety, stress, that almost constant, you know, sort of chronic panic attack that was just always there. How has it been since disclosing to everybody?
It's gone. Well, it didn't go away fully until a couple months into therapy. And my therapist helped me work through it, and telling everyone, being more open and authentic, realizing a few truths about myself and about why I was feeling the way I was feeling. It just went away. And I still, sometimes depression can creep back in, but it's really fleeting now. Usually it's just like if I'm having a blah day, but that's the worst it gets. And it used to be debilitating, but I'm the happiest I've ever been now. And the difference, she can probably testify to this, is night and day. It's crazy.
You want to talk about that?
Yeah, I mean, if I have anything to add, it's just that Thomas was also worried off and on throughout his journey that he's so funny. He would get dark circles under his eyes if Abel had like a bad night sleeping or something. And then if we went to his family's house for Sunday dinner or something, he would be like, do you think that my family's going to think that my countenance is gone and that the light has left my eyes? And I'm like, you're sleep deprived. Like, we're sleep training our son, you know? And so, but it is funny that apart from him worrying about people thinking that his sleep circles is, you know, Satan's hold on him, I do feel like he does almost come across lighter now that he doesn't have that depression and that anxiety as constantly.
Yeah,
So
it's got nothing to do with my countenance and everything to do with my behavior. And I think you see it.
yeah.
I feel
and just
it.
like prioritizing your mental health after having something like that happen to you.
Absolutely.
I do think you can see it physically. So
Yeah.
it's been nice to see. It's hard to start your marriage in a hard spot like that, and I don't think we'd go about it any other way. And it's not like at any point we were like, did we make a mistake in getting married so soon? But yeah, it was just kind of a hard foot to step off on, and it's been nice to see that, you know, we're coming up on 3 years, and it's like, okay, we both feel good. Yeah, we got it now.
We met each other, or we started dating while each of us were at our worst. So.
Yeah, it was really interesting that we like met each other when
and
we
we've
did,
just grown
and
together.
we're still
We've just grown together.
Yeah.
I feel like.
I love it.
Yeah.
Well, it's, I mean, you're both saying that you're both happier and healthier, both individually and in your marriage. Is that right?
Yeah.
It's been good for your marriage. It's been good for your individual mental and physical health. True?
Yep.
Yes.
True.
Okay. And that matters. That should matter. As far as the countenance thing goes, I just have to say, I had someone message me the other day and say that they totally lost their faith, but they haven't told anybody yet. And they thought it was weird how nobody's made a comment about their countenance.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Oh, isn't that true?
Like they'll only make that comment after they know
Something's up.
That you've left.
Yeah.
It's
And
like,
you can leave and like all of a sudden no longer be depressed, go off your meds, lose 20 pounds or whatever it is. You could be beaming, like Donny Osmond's smile, and they're still going to say your countenance is falling.
Yeah. Yeah. There's no avoiding it. Yeah.
Because
Yep.
it's confirmation bias. You see, you
What they
ignore
wanna
what
see.
you don't want to see,
Yeah.
and you see what you want to see. And
Yeah.
so Margie and I, in our last Mormon Stories episode, we just talked about acceptance and how important it is to just accept. You can't control people's reactions.
Mm-hmm.
When you try, you usually make it worse.
Yep.
So the best thing you could do is just practice acceptance of where you are and who you are and everything. And that's, oddly enough, accepting the pain and suffering or the disappointment of others is often the healthiest way through.
Yeah.
And I recommend that recent episode with Margie on, telling believing family and friends when you lose your faith. It's really outstanding.
Yeah.
We've
need to
gotten
listen
great
to that.
feedback. It's just a couple episodes ago.
Yeah, I saw that one. I was planning on listening to that one.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's been good. Let's see. I think that's about it. There's one thing that I wanted to mention that maybe I can get your feedback on, but I don't know.
It's therapy
This is
session.
going to turn
Oh, I
into
know,
a
right?
Q&A.
John is in.
This might be a
It's time
good
for
idea.
therapy.
It might be a bad idea, but I've put together a slideshow that details my whole story because my family, I wish they would ask more about it, but they haven't because they've been a little too scared. But I put together a whole slideshow detailing my story. And then at the end, after like 3 disclaimer slides, I'm like, here are all the reasons I left the church. And I just want people to have it available as a resource if they ever want to look at it. If they don't, that's fine. But I'm hoping one day they'll all read it and come to terms with it and ask me questions. Family, if you're watching this, I mean, you've probably read the slideshow by now if you're watching this, but please give it a watch, give it a watch and a read and ask me questions. And if you're a friend too, I want to be open about it.
book.
Yeah.
So what we'll do is in the show notes, we'll include, you can give us the PowerPoint
yeah,
or the slideshow.
yeah.
We'll create a PDF out of it. We'll upload it. And anyone who wants to know kind of the reasons, they can upload it. Are you saying you wanted to give a narrated version as well, where you actually talk through it, or you
No.
just want the visuals?
Nah, just the visuals.
Okay.
Yeah,
We'll
we'll
do
see
that.
about that. Yeah, it's not done yet, but I'll try to get it
Finish
done.
it up
Yeah.
and email it to us.
Sure. All right. Yeah. Why not?
Okay. Is that what you were asking or something else?
I was just seeing if it was a good idea to share it with my family. And
Oh, yeah. Okay. Well, let me tell you so we talk about that in the thing with Margie, and my general feedback is, and there's, I'm not your replacement prophet, and I don't mean you. I mean,
no, I don't.
You listeners,
Yeah.
I don't know what's right. Every situation is different. I'm just one guy, blah, blah, blah. I'll just tell you what I generally advise people as my default advice is it's best not to put yourself in the position of being someone else's teacher.
Yeah.
For a couple reasons. One is most people don't want to know. Overwhelmingly, the response to those big, long letters that people write, exit letters that they write about why they're leaving, is that they're ignored and they're never read.
Yeah.
It creates in people often the backfire effect where they feel like you're trying to deconvert them. And oftentimes that backfires not only because it isn't great for your relationship, but also oftentimes people will cling even tighter to their beliefs when they feel like their beliefs are being challenged.
Mm-hmm.
There's a couple good episodes on a podcast called You're Not So Smart about the backfire effect. It's not a perfect theory, but I think there's something to it, and it's worth checking out. You really do strengthen their beliefs sometimes just by presenting them with evidence, and not even opinion, evidence, like factual evidence. Often, whether it's gun control or global warming or abortion, pick your topic, politics, evidence that's actually correct strengthens the opposing point of view, believe it or not.
Crazy.
Yeah.
And then finally, you don't want them to ever you don't want to ever be accused of the reason why someone leaves.
Mm-hmm.
And so let's just say they read it and they love it and they leave the church, well, guess who gets blamed, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's the last thing. We've really focused on not.
I'm not saying don't do it.
No, but
these
it's
are things to think about.
It's certainly one of the hesitations I have had in sharing with my family. So,
but I mean, if you just put it out there, they're adults. So another argument, let's just say the opposing argument is they're grown arse adults. If they click on it, if they download it, that's up to them.
Yeah,
and and there are a lot of people that are grateful. Like just to give the opposing advice of what I just said, how many people are just so grateful that their loved one shared with them their thoughts and their feelings and concerns, helped them see the church for what it truly is, and then they were able to kind of take back their life and live an authentic life. So I can argue with myself. There's really no one right answer. Ultimately, adults just have to make adult decisions.
Yeah.
And so what some people do is just refer people to the Gospel Topics essays, or here's Rough Stone Rolling, or here's No Man Knows My History, or here's the CES letter. I want you to have your own journey.
Yeah, exactly.
I never want to mess up with your faith. So there's no right answer. I'm sure I confused you more than I did help you. But those are some of the things that people...
Yeah, we'll talk about it.
And I think because, like you said, about not being somebody's teacher or not being the reason that they leave and having those accusations, I think the reason why Thomas finally did come to the conclusion of making a PowerPoint was just in case any of his family reached out to him first, wanting to know more. Because up until this point, we have been very careful to not act like we're trying to convert them or deconvert them. And it's been kind of disappointing how little they have wanted to know. But on the off chance that they did come to him and want to know more,
I would like to have
then
something
it would
ready,
be there laid out. I guess is that I don't know. I don't know if that's what you had in mind.
Yeah, no, that's for sure.
Because we've definitely had that fear too, that people would be like, okay, you are pulling people away from the church. You need to just chill and let them come to their own conclusions.
It's very carefully
we hope
worded
that
so far,
someday
so we'll see.
family would actually reach out and come to us first. That would be nice. But
yeah,
I mean, in a high demand religion, the consequences of losing your faith and leaving are just so dire, or the perceived consequences of leaving a high demand religion can be so scary, so dire. Some people in their 50s and 60s and 70s or 80s, do they really want to make a change now with all that sunk cost?
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
So, it just makes sense why a lot of people just never want to know.
Yeah,
I
get
it.
Even though you're their child or their grandkid or their sibling, some people just never want to go there.
Yeah, I get it.
It's all about comfort zone because
Yeah.
you definitely have to break out of it when you're you're leaving something that you've been raised in. So.
Yeah, very true. Great. So,
You got a final song for us?
Final song. And
Did you cover? You want to check the outline out, make sure you covered everything you want, or you think you got it?
We
or?
didn't cover the bishop's interview. I don't know if you wanted to go back and do that.
About what?
Me and her worthiness interview to bless my child.
That was just kind of funny.
Just awkward and weird. Yeah.
Tell the story really quick.
Okay. Speed version. We went, I knew I was going to have to bless Abel, and she was pregnant. And so we were like, maybe we should be like, quote unquote, worthy to do so. Yeah. So
This is back when you were thinking about whether or not to do it.
Yes. And so we visited the bishop, and the first thing.
I guess this would be the second bishop's interview I've ever had where I have to confess all my
so
my transgressions.
Yeah, we confessed having
after I was an adult and married, which is really bizarre.
Yeah.
You confessed what?
Premarital sex.
To a bishop after you'd been married.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And then he was
and
like,
I was pregnant, which
she was
is
pregnant.
The funniest thing. I was like, okay, yeah, we've had sexual relations.
The fruit of our labor.
And I'm like, do I look like I regret it? You know, I'm sitting here with a big old baby belly, and it was very bizarre to me. And as soon as we left, I was like, I don't know how I feel about this. Like, we have to tell this.
What did he say?
He was like, I can tell you feel remorseful, Thomas, even though I didn't really, but I was definitely I understood the gravity of it.
He's acting a little more penitent. For sure.
And then he was like, I think I can see that you're penitent, Thomas, but Sierra, I think we need to work on you a little bit more. It's because she was she just had that face, that sassy face the whole time.
It was probably a little bit of my body language and just the way that I did convey myself. But
what were you feeling as you were in that position?
Again, I just felt like it was none of his business. And so it's like when somebody's just prying you for information that you're you're not privy to tell them, but they're acting like it's their job to know. And so
and you're confessing that when you had sex as a teenager or as a young adult.
I mean, technically you were confessing that too.
Yeah,
right?
I think I did mention that I had been, because I think that's almost what he touched on more than us having premarital sex, was that I had sex before even Thomas, because best case scenario is that we had premarital sex, but then at least we got married, right? Whereas, and so I've been his only partner, and then, looking at me, I'm like, okay, he hasn't been my only partner. I've been doing this for a while, and now I'm supposed to just even though it's in my past and I don't regret any of it, but I also don't spend any time thinking about it. I'm supposed to have a 6-month repentance process. I'm like, no, that part of my life is done. That chapter is closed.
Did he say did he basically put you on probation?
He was acting like we needed to, what did he say? We needed to start paying tithing.
He said a matter of months.
Oh,
No, literally the
money.
first thing.
First thing, I need the money. Show me the money.
Yeah,
he
was start paying your tithing. He wanted us to get more involved in the church activities. And then I think he did throw out a date, okay, you're looking at being able to bless this far out, or, go through the temple this far out. And so, it was okay, I have to, revisit all of these things that I don't even see as transgressions before I can bless the baby that's in my stomach right now. And it was just very odd. And I think it did make me kind of mad. And so
after that,
I came across kind of aggressive, and he was like, okay, Thomas, you're chill. Cece, you're not. And I was like, yeah, no, I'm not chill. I've never been chill about bishop interviews. So that was kind of funny that we had that experience, and then we didn't follow through with it. I told him, I was like, I don't want to start paying tithing. I've never paid tithing in my life.
I was on board at that point because I was just doing it to get the green card from the
bishop. We jumped through the one hoop, and then we were like, we're not going to do it anymore.
Yeah, let's not do that again. Yeah.
So that was just kind of a funny story we skipped over. But
was that part of what made you decide not to bless your baby, honestly?
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah, it's very off-putting that this guy, he was nice enough, but it's he is some random stranger. We just moved into the ward. We don't know him from Adam. And he's like, okay, this is your first step towards doing the right thing for your unborn baby. It's they're given so much jurisdiction where they just shouldn't have it. And it's where do you get off? What are you doing? So I do think that was kind of a stepping point as well for us, big we didn't want to be told how to raise our kid and what we needed to do. That is so silly if you think about it. I know it's not silly when you're in, but when you're out, it's okay, I can't take this little crust of bread. I can't have this little sip of water, and that's going to make it all better. But it's like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
It was weird.
It comes off kind of
It is
childish
super
almost.
weird. You're adults, you're married, you're there, and they're going to try and like humiliate you. And, and it's just so, this is why I mention it every single time. Shame, sexual shame is part of the Mormon business model. It's literally the axle around which the wheels of the church turns. And there's no greater testament or testimony to that than the fact that as soon as you repent for sexual shame, his response is, give us money, start serving more in the church, and we may give you something in return. What that sets up is you now are broken and bad and fallen, and you're not going to be made clean until I, your bishop, your church leader, tells you you're clean. And we need to humble you and humiliate you so that now you're broke. You're kind of psychologically broke, where now you owe us for the rest of your life. You better not, and you better not ever do that again.
They create the shame. They create the shame, then equate it to Satan. That's why you feel icky. It's because it's Satan in your life. And then they give you the solution. Luckily, Cece
that they create. They give you solutions to the problem they create, which is it's all made up. I'm just going to say that right now. It's all made up. Really they present themselves as the solution to the problem they made up. And then ask for money. You know?
Yes.
Cece never bought into that whole cycle, so she saw right through it, and she was like, nope. And I, of course, did, and I was like on the fence about it. But anyway, that's that story.
I have to say, Cece, you're smarter than all of us.
Yes,
probably
she is.
99% of the people I've interviewed on Mormon Stories. See, you know, Michael Coe, you know, like Grant Palmer, Michael Quinn, you're smarter than all of them. Really? Really? At age 16.
No, nice.
Yeah,
seriously. I'm saying here, Cece Stokes is the smartest. Oh, wait, I have to look in the camera. Cece Stokes is the smartest person I've ever interviewed on Mormon Stories podcast. Sorry, 1,495 hours of other people interviewed. Cece Stokes is the smartest I've ever interviewed. That's it.
I'm honored.
There you have
I'm
it.
very honored.
I'm dropping the mic. Drop the mic, Cece. Drop the mic. She drops the mic.
Drop it. There you go.
All right, you win.
So yeah, I feel like that. I mean, we came up to where our family found out, a couple of family members found out about the TikTok, and I feel like that's been the most recent development. So now we're up to date, and
now we're just trying to build our own spirituality, build it from the ground up. She's a lot more spiritual than I am. We're doing, you know, we're trying different things, trying to figure out what resonates with us. For me, it's nature. For her, it's I don't know. You can talk about that if you want.
like manifestation.
Manifestation.
The universe has your back more so than just like one single being.
Yeah. Anyway, so that's where we're at right now, just trying to navigate that, figure out what we believe.
So are you guys, do you still identify as Christian? Not sure?
Non-Christian for sure.
I would say no,
Yeah, not Christian. Yeah. For me, I found this term from one of my friends that also left the church. If you're listening, you know who you are. I feel like I'm a hopeful agnostic.
Hopeful agnostic.
Yep. I hope there's something out there. That'd be nice if there was. There very well could be, but it's not Christianity, and it's certainly not Mormonism.
And I think one of the most common comments I get are from Christians that are like, I'm so mad that you ex-Mormons give up. Why do you abandon Christ when you lose, just because the church is a fraud and Joseph Smith was a fraud and the Book of Mormon wasn't true? Why do you have to let that infect Jesus? Jesus still lives. Stick with Jesus. What would you tell my evangelical Christian listeners?
We have some ex-evangelical friends. You know who you are. And they've been through the exact same thing that we have. And it's so apparent that there are just as many problems with Christianity in general as there are with
It's
Mormonism.
Across the board. Our parallels are really
creepy.
Yeah, it's like uncanny. Two different religions, but it's like the same. It's the same story. Yeah, like none of it's original. They're all playing the same game of shame and manipulation, and so yeah.
Bible, Book of Mormon. You want to talk historicity? Let's go there.
I mean, Christians will say, well, at least there really was a Jerusalem, and there really was.
That's a good point.
There really were Jews, like there Zarahemla and Nephi.
Can't argue with that, right? So yeah. I think that leads into my last song.
All right.
We can do it.
Do it.
This song's called I Don't Have to Know. And that's just what I feel right now. I really don't.
This is a really good
I don't have to
one.
know everything. And this is about my plea to God and this, the countless times I prayed to find answers. That's out of tune.
Here you get tuning live on Mormon. This is how raw and real. This is like Unplugged, MTV Unplugged.
Yeah, all the behind the scenes.
Behind the scenes, you get the tuning. You get the tuning. That's how real. And he's tuning by ear, of course. He doesn't need no stinking tuning fork or, right?
Exactly.
How did it get so out of tune?
How you doing?
Capo.
Oh,
I had the
okay.
capo on, and so when I take
Oh.
it off, the intonation is a little off usually.
All right. So the name of the song is?
I Don't Have to Know by Big Crick.
Big Crick.
Yep, and you'll notice a few special lines. Just keep your eyes peeled. Or
Okay.
your
Ears.
ears.
Ears peeled, yeah.
Okay. I've waited all night, I'm kneeling still. I wanna talk to you, I wanna talk to you so bad. And I can't believe you, at least not those ties. They cannot speak for you, they cannot speak for you like that. So if you're whatever they say you are, what am I calling to? What am I calling to you for? But I've prayed, there could be nothing. But I've seen miracles, I really hope there's something. And I'm okay, I hope it shows. I don't have to know, you're everything to nothing. And the hardest thing that I let go. So what's this love I've heard all about? 'Cause I can't see you here, no I can't see you anymore. And I lost my meaning, but I'm scared of death. So what's my body worth, and what's my spirit worth up there? And I swear I'll follow you until the end. Just give me anything, a simple voice, no questioning what's real. But I've prayed, there could be nothing. But I've seen miracles, I really hope there's something. And I'm okay, I hope it shows. I don't have to know, you're everything to nothing. And the hardest thing that I let go. You're everything to nothing. And the hardest thing that I let go. So I'll say your name and you'll prick my heart. So what's with all the special clothes? I'd spill my guts and slit a throat to know. And I heard you watch me be still my soul. Been sitting quiet for quite some time. They're telling me I've nowhere else to go. I never wanted home to change. And I asked, I heard all be okay. You don't have to stay. But I've prayed there could be nothing, but I've seen miracles. I really hope there's something, and I'm okay. I hope it shows. I don't have to know. You're everything to nothing, and the hardest thing that I let go. You're everything to nothing, and the hardest thing that I let go. I don't miss it though. I don't miss it though. You're everything to nothing, and the hardest thing that I let go. I don't miss it though. I don't miss it though. You're everything to nothing, and the hardest thing that I let go. I don't miss it though. I don't miss it though. You're everything to nothing, and the hardest thing that I let go.
Yay! Yay!
Thank
I
you.
love that one too.
Thanks, appreciate it.
Yay, that was
You're
so
supposed to
good.
clap.
And the and the lyrics you wanted people to notice.
I'll say your name and you'll prick my heart. So what's with all the special clothes? I'd spill my guts and slit a throat to know. In reference to the temple ceremony. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Savage.
Yeah.
Savage stuff.
I suppose.
Savage would make it pretty.
Yeah, right? So yeah, that's writing all this music has been really therapeutic for me. It's what I do when I'm sad and also when I'm happy, because I wrote, Free. I wrote that one about Abel and CC, and it just helps me express myself and deal with hard emotions. And I thought that maybe other people would like to hear it too. So I begun production on my album, released the first 3 songs as an EP on Bandcamp. That's on sale. All that money is going to go directly towards producing the rest of my album, which I definitely need. If you guys want to support, that would be very much appreciated, so we can get this album to you guys as quick as possible, and the album will be free, of course. And then, I want to do events and live shows and help build a community around this. People like Mindy Gledhill and Tyler Glenn and guy from Imagine Dragons. Why did I forget? Dan Reynolds.
Wayne Sermon.
They're all giants and they've come before me, but I'm just a regular dude. But I have these songs that I wanted to share as well. So hope you guys have enjoyed them, and hope you guys enjoy the album too.
Yeah. Well, tell us one more time how to find your stuff.
So right now you can find me on Instagram and TikTok, big.crick.music. I'm on Bandcamp. Just go to bandcamp.com or download the app, and search for Big Crick, and I'll come up. You can buy my EP there. I'm also on Spotify and Apple Music. My first song, Dirty, is on there. And I believe those are all the platforms I'm on right now. Yep.
All
so
right.
Any of that.
Big Crick Music.
Yeah. Also, I need to do one more shameless plug. My wife is an amazing esthetician.
If you want beautiful skin.
This is totally unrelated.
If you want your
but
skin
thank
to
you.
glow like Cece, the smartest person ever interviewed.
Look at that skin. Come on. We own our own spa, and so if you want if you want a facial, come book with us. And we'd love to have you. So that is also, we'll throw her social media on the link too. It's CC, what is it? cc.rider.skin on Instagram.
Yeah, we love shameless plugs on Mormon.
Oh yeah, I'm all about shameless plugs.
We've actually had people from Thomas's TikTok book facials, which is really fun because then we actually get to meet in person and
it's cool.
correspond. So I guess, throw that plug in there. We'd love to meet you guys.
Down in Orem.
Yep, Orem.
All right.
Orem, Utah.
All right. Well, this has been a lovely day, and it's so lovely to meet you guys. I love the music, Thomas and Cece. I love your story.
Thank you.
It's just been so fun, and you guys are awesome. And I hope you'll stay in touch, and let's keep building community and do amazing things. And I'll talk to the committee, but I'm going to try and sneak you in at Thrive. Thrive Day is November 14th, 2021 in the Salt Palace. We've already got like 150 people signed up, and we haven't even started marketing yet. We're shooting for at least 2,000 people at the Salt Palace. It's going to be super fun. Please go to, why are you guys laughing?
That'd be a big
That
show.
would be, yeah. Big show. That'd be exciting, though.
Yeah,
I'd be down.
Well, get ready.
Yep,
get ready.
I'm ready.
Go to thrivebeyondreligion.com/events to register for Thrive Day. There's also a Youth Thrive Day for kids between 12 and 18, led by Jesse Funk. Same day, same venue. You can register at the same site, thrivebeyondreligion.com/events for your youth and for yourself. And we're gonna have Sarah Edmondson from the ex-Nexium cult member from The Vow, HBO's The Vow. She has a podcast with her husband Nippy called A Little Bit Culty. She's going to be there. Why are you guys laughing? Lance Allred is going to be there. He's a former NBA player, played with LeBron James on the Cleveland Cavaliers. He's first legally deaf NBA player, was raised in the Allred group. He's got a great story. He's got a TED Talk called What is Your Polygamy that's got over 4 million views. Lance is going to be keynoting. We'll have Bill Reel there, Art Radio Free Mormon there, Natasha Helfer there. Luna Corbden is going to be there. So many amazing people. Monica Crowfoot and Alan and Katie Mount from Marriage on a Tightrope. Plus, Cara Burrell is going to be leading a bunch of TikTokers to have a comedy hour. It's going to be so fun. So sign up now. Tell all your friends. Let's fill this thing up. And by the way, it's totally zero profit. Thrive is a nonprofit. We had to, the organizers had to put down probably $15,000 just to reserve the Salt Palace. We'll be lucky if we make that back. But we don't do it for the money. But definitely don't think this is anyone getting rich. This is literally just to help you find friends, to help you find community, to help give you tools to navigate your faith crisis, to help you lead a healthy, happy life after religion or after Mormonism. So please come if you want to, and maybe you guys will be there.
Yeah, that would
you guys
be awesome.
can set up. In fact, you guys can set up a booth. Anyone who sells books, sells music, TikToks, podcasters, you can all set up a booth, and you can sell your stuff, your merch, your CDs, whatever you do. People can donate to your Venmo if you just want to meet the artist. So you guys can have your own booth if you want.
Yeah, that'd be sweet.
And just email thrivebeyondreligion@gmail.com, and Clint will tell you how to set up your stuff.
Yeah, perfect.
All right?
That sounds awesome.
Well, you guys are lovely. Take care.
Thank you.
Have a great night.
Yeah, thanks for having us. It's been awesome. Crazy, cool experience. Yeah.
We'll keep living a happy, healthy life. Keep on shining.
Yeah, we will.
That's what it's all about.
We'll do.
We'll be here.
All right. Thanks, everyone. You guys take care. Thanks for your support. And Cara Burrell, hope you get well soon so we can have you back. Thanks to Brooklyn and Gerardo and everyone at the Open Stories Foundation. Thanks to all you who donate. Please go to mormonstories.org and become a donor if you aren't yet to help make this possible. And we'll see you guys all again very soon on another episode of Mormon Stories Podcast. Take care, everybody.